Hello and a very warm welcome. This is News on International. My name is Justin Abemu and here are the stories. South African government honors Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari as both countries reaffirm strategic bilateral cooperation. Federal government restates commitment to ensure synergy among the nation's armed forces to end security. Plus, a federal high court in Abuja grants Omoyele Sowore bail, restricts him from holding rallies. Well, thank you very much for joining us. President Muhammadu Buhari and South African counterpart Cyril Ramaphosa have reaffirmed the strategic bilateral relations between their countries and, in the spirit of solidarity, committed themselves to working together towards enhancing political, economic and social cooperation for the benefit of their peoples. This was at the state banquet in honor of the Nigerian leader by the South African government as he rounds off his remarkably historic visit to Pretoria. State House correspondent Damu Sambo has the details.
The state banquet was put together by President Cyril Ramaphosa to show appreciation to President Muhammadu Buhari for the renewed friendship between their countries anchored on mutual respect, solidarity and understanding. In the past 2 days, hope for a better future through a shared vision has been rekindled as Nigeria and South Africa recommitted themselves to working as a united front towards confronting the numerous challenges of conflict, insecurity, migration, poverty, corruption, and poor governance bedeviling their countries and the continent. And the abundant human and natural resources at the disposal of Nigeria and South Africa, the two leaders believe that such can be effectively harnessed and developed to put the two countries and indeed Africa on the path of peace and prosperity.
We believe that a strong strategic relationship between Nigeria and South Africa can become the engine for the rapid economic, political, social, cultural development of Africa, thereby delivering the Africa we want.
Our countries must continue to participate in promoting peace and security agenda for the continent. In this respect, we require African solutions for African problems.
The solemn event also provided the opportunity for the leaders to reflect on their countries' long-lasting relations forged in a common struggle against colonialism and apartheid.
We in Nigeria are very proud that we stood with the people of Southern Africa in their hour of need. As they say, a friend in need is a friend indeed. We are also very proud that we are today charting an exciting new path towards the Africa we want.
Without Nigeria's support, our freedom would have come at a much greater cost and would have been even delayed more. We will never forget the great debt we owe you, and we will never allow the lawless actions of a few to undermine the bonds of friendship between our two peoples.
With a relationship now full of potential and promise, South Africa and Nigeria see the elevated Binational Commission as an important platform for them to keep on the same page as they move forward as one people with a shared vision and one destiny.
May you and the people of Nigeria have good health as Nigeria addresses all the challenges it has moving towards prosperity.
I would like therefore to seize this opportunity to formally invite you to pay a state visit to Nigeria for a turn match, where we as Super Eagles will surely revenge against you, Bafana Bafana.
Nigeria and the Republic of South Africa are the two largest economies in Africa. From Pretoria, South Africa, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has reassured Nigerians and diaspora of his administration's commitment to continue to protect and promote the image and integrity of Nigeria and Nigerians. And this was when the president interacted with the Nigerian community in the Republic of South Africa. State House correspondent Aliu Kabir reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who has rounded off his official visit to South Africa, emphasized the need for Nigerians based in the Republic of South Africa to continue to be law-abiding citizens and respect the constituted authorities while undertaking their legitimate businesses, assuring them that based on the discussions he had with President Ramaphosa, the issue of xenophobia is being addressed.
During my visit here, we have discussed these attacks on foreigners and Nigerians. The authorities have expressed their apologies over the incidents and have resolved to take necessary steps to end this ugly trend in the interest of our relationship. We have just inaugurated the Nigeria-South Africa National Commission at the level of heads of state with a firm determination to further bring our two countries together in a mutually beneficial partnership. Let us therefore give peace a chance and pray we have seen the last of this ugly violence.
President Buhari also urged them to represent Nigeria very well in order to make the country proud.
You are our ambassadors and face of our country to the world wherever you are. The world is therefore watching you and will make judgments on Nigeria based on your comportment and actions. Second, in whatever legitimate engagement you find yourself, you must strive to excel and be the best. Third, while you are out in diaspora, do not forget home. You represent some of the best human assets that Nigeria has. With your education and exposure to the world, you are at the cutting edge of technology. I therefore urge you to use your resources, skills, and talents to help the development of Nigeria.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyama, alongside Nigerian High Commissioner to the Republic of South Africa, Kabiru Bala, promised to continue to give the President their support, ensuring that the interest of Nigeria is well protected.
What Mr. President was particularly concerned about was not the fire brigade approach of putting out one fire today and then maybe tomorrow it arises, but putting in place a mechanism that would ensure that we would never see again the kind of behavior that we saw in the past.
It's not only government of Nigeria that did so well for this country, but for those who were in school in the 60s, in the 70s and 80s, they have contributed so much of their meager resources from meager salaries towards the fund that liberated not only South Africa, but the Southern Africa itself.
Nigerians in South Africa applauded the proactiveness of the Nigerian government in handling the crisis, adding that the visit of the president to South Africa has restored their confidence and given them hope to continue to excel in their various fields of endeavors and projecting the image of the country positively. The event was attended by the representatives of Nigerian associations and other professional bodies residing in South Africa. In Pretoria, South Africa, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari is back in Abuja after a highly successful and remarkable visit to the Republic of South Africa on the invitation of President Cyril Ramaphosa. Before leaving Pretoria, however, the president granted audience to the Deputy President of South Africa, David Mabuza. The engagement was meant to review the concrete measures to be put in place towards ensuring that the socio-economic and cultural well-being of their countries and peoples are taken to the next level. As State House correspondent, Musa again has the details.
The meeting lasted about 1 hour behind closed doors, was a follow-up on the agreements reached during various high-level engagements between the president and the South African leader Cyril Ramaphosa. It was aimed at significantly moving beyond the rhetoric to the nitty-gritty of the actual programs of action as regards the major deliverables. Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyama witnessed the talks.
They both felt that really at the core of the challenge for development on our continent was education, that it was absolutely important to educate our people. They looked at the steps, countries that needed to be visited to restore peace on the continent, and then also looked at trade within the continent, especially within the context of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, and how that could and should be addressed. They looked also at self-reliance for Africa, the area of the role of agriculture, how we could pull our resources together to ensure food security in Africa. Then they also looked at the global scenario, how we go about ensuring that Africa's voice should be heard and that Africa should also be driving the global agenda.
In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari, accompanied to South Africa by a high-powered delegation comprising the governors of Kano, Plateau and Ebonyi states, left Pretoria highly fulfilled.
The commitment now of the government of South Africa to ensure that never again do we see this kind of thing was very clear, and we put in place now a very concrete and a real mechanism to help the authorities preempt such attacks and to address those attacks and to deal, very severely with anybody that misbehaves in that context. We have seen how aligned, the political leaders are, and the roadmap that has now been developed for these two countries to really drive development on the continent. We've now put in place a framework for two huge economies on the continent to increase the level of trade. So the political will that is now there is going to open up really the markets for both countries. Nigerian businesses to come in here, banks, other companies, and also the other way around. And this is going to be a win-win for our two countries.
On return to Abuja, Nigeria's capital, President Buhari was received at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport by the Minister of the FCT, Muhammad Musa Bello, Director General of the Department of State Services, Yusuf Gaji Bichi, Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, Permanent Secretary of the State House, Jalal Arabi, and other senior government officials. In Abuja, Adamu Sambu, NT News.
And in a related development, following successful conclusion of the 9th Bi-National Commission of South Africa-Nigeria meeting in Pretoria, South Africa, which was elevated to the level of heads of state, both countries have agreed on issuing 10-year visas to businessmen, academics and frequent travelers. The agreement was reached in a meeting co-chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari and President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa, which was the first time both presidents will preside since the Binational Commission was elevated. A statement issued by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, said the decision was taken to encourage more people-to-people contacts among citizens of both countries and further strengthen socio-cultural, economic and political relations. At the meeting held at the Union Buildings, Presidential Palace of South Africa, the two presidents agreed on early warning signals to nip violence in the bud before it escalates, while taking into consideration the need to share more intelligence and promote strong partnership in security. Now, after 4 months of anti-government demonstrations, Hong Kong has banned protesters from wearing face masks. For details of these and more trending news from other parts of the globe, here is Joyce.
Hello there and welcome to this segment of the news. The President of Cameroon, Paul Biya, has ordered the release of 333 prisoners who had been detained in connection with an Anglophone separatist rebellion. A statement from the presidency says he had decided to stop their prosecution in the military courts. It was read out by the government official at a major conference that is trying to resolve the conflicts which over the last 3 years had left thousands dead and many displaced. The crisis started when lawyers and teachers went on strike over the use of French in courts and schools in the English-speaking Northwest and the Southwest regions. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump, who is already facing impeachment inquiry after being accused of urging Ukraine to investigate his political rival, Joe Biden, has now urged China to do likewise. He said both China and Ukraine should look into Mr. Biden, a Democratic presidential frontrunner, and his son. The Democrats accused Trump of dangling military aid as a way to press Ukraine to dig dirt on Mr. Biden. Mr. Biden responded, saying the idea of Trump attacking anyone's integrity is a joke. And from Hong Kong comes a report that the country's chief executive, Carrie Lam, has used the colonial-era emergency law to ban face masks. After months of angry protests, the measure was announced on Friday following widespread violence on 1st October, the 70th anniversary of Communist Party rule in China. Ms. Lam said the violence was destroying the city and authorities could not just leave the situation to get worse. The ban comes into effect on Saturday. And these are some of the stories making rounds on the foreign scene. Thanks for staying. I'm Joyce Umitu.
You're watching the news on International, reaching live from Abuja. We take a short break now, the news continues shortly.
Hey, you! And are you going to talk to? Sabi you now. It's in your mind, Abi. The person with them go help us. Baba Torosa, Shangalo, Ogalekuva, Mr. Sabi. And you can't tell us for this. Sabi speaking will crawl before him walk. So look, no everybody. No dolly, no. So go for him. Go for football. Go for Osorio on the Liga Martins live. Go for OTV Max.
Thank you for staying with us. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says the federal government remains committed to providing quality education to Nigerians at all levels. The Vice President said this in a message to the 30th convocation of the Nigerian Defense Academy, Kaduna. Abdullahi Mohammed reports.
Gathered here at the General Historical Hall of the Nigeria Defense Academy are 319 graduating cadets for the 67 regular corps Army, 66 regular Navy and Air Force, and postgraduate students for conferment of degrees in various fields of study.
Whatever we learn and affect when we go out to represent the academy.
Coming to a military is another thing, you know, the way they do their things, the discipline, the classes, the lecturers, everything about them is just different.
In a message to the king, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says the federal government will continue to accord priority to the provision of quality education at all levels to stimulate growth.
The federal government is aware of the significance of education as a tool for progress and national development. This is reflected in the allocation of 625 billion naira for this purpose.
The Vice President asked the graduating cadets to prepare themselves for the task of national defense and development. Two prominent Nigerians, Air Marshal Alamin Musa Dagash and Lieutenant General Joseph Woni, were conferred honorary doctorate degree of military science in recognition of their contributions to global peace and security.
In Kaduna, Abdullah Muhammad, NT News.
Minister of Defense Major General Bashir Salihi Magashi says he is determined to enhance coordination in the operations of the Nigerian Armed Forces for effective national defense and security. The minister said these at the inauguration of the newly constructed facilities in the Nigerian Defense Academy, Kaduna. And Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachuku reports.
Accompanied by service chiefs, the Minister of Defense inaugurated the 200-bedroom cadet accommodation, 2 blocks of 4-bedroom master warrant officers, 8 units of 2-bedroom flats, 2 blocks of 1-bedroom and 6 units of 3-bedroom accommodation for staff sergeants, as well as Protestant Church and Central Mosque at the Nigerian Defense Academy.
I remember when I was a cadet, the naval facilities is not more than a bungalow of 4 bedrooms, but now you can see the development both in the technological this and infrastructural development. And I think things are moving with dynamics time.
While acknowledging the strides being achieved in the Nigerian Armed Forces, Major General Salih Mugashi says he is determined to make the forces more responsive to security threats in the country.
I'm in charge and I follow the design of the operation of the ministry and the operation of our major assignment as to the defense of the country.
The inauguration of these facilities aimed at enhancing the welfare of cadets and personnel is coming on the heels of the 67th graduation ceremony of the Nigerian Defense Academy. In Kaduna, I am Suleiman Rigachkun, NTA News.
Now, T Pompey Concept Limited, a fast-growing property developer in Abuja, has rewarded its subscribers for their loyalty and trust over the years. Hamad Jaban reports that new packages were also rolled out for all Nigerians to take advantage of, tagged Abuja for All.
Experts in the housing sector in Nigeria say with a population of about 200 million people and an annual population growth rate of 3.5%, the country requires a minimum of additional 1 million housing units per annum to reduce the national housing deficit of 17 million housing units in order to avert a housing crisis by the year 2020. With this in mind, T Pompey Concept, a company that deals majorly in the sales of lands and estate plots since 2009, is providing a number of decent, accessible and affordable houses in the country to bridge this gap. In the last 7.5 years, T Pompey has been selling and developing all types of estate lands for residential purposes as well as education, commercial and recreation, and decided to reward the best marketer over the years.
The government cannot do it alone, and we don't need to put government. I can tell you that people benefiting from T Pompey Concept alone are over 200. The direct employments are over 50. If we can, is another. I can even say it's another means of generating employment to people. People are smiling into their house. People too are taking food to their family's table.
When I got the call from T Pompey, I was really excited. And I'm happy to be here, and it's an honor for me to receive such a prize. I'm very happy.
Some of the subscribers commended T Pompey for its zeal to assist all Nigerians to be landlords and landowners in Abuja.
I was scared first because I was like, maybe the land is not genuine or something. So I found out I do my inquiries and the land is genuine.
T Pompey himself did not really make it to be so difficult for anybody. As in, you just come in and from day one, you'll just be welcomed.
The way T Pompey is operating is just like he's doing a giveaway.
T Pompey has also rolled out Abuja for All package that will run from October to December 2019 to provide lands for interested Nigerians. It comes in 3 categories of platinum, gold and silver, from 1.7 million to 8 million naira, 50% down payment and move to site. T Pompey said is giving the most flexible method of payment that includes 3 to 6 month payment plan and 10% discount for outright payment. Hamad Jabani, NTA News.
The convener of Revolution Now movement, Omoyele Sowore, is currently making efforts to meet the bail conditions granted to him by a federal high court sitting in Abuja. Olabode reports.
Omoyele Sowore and Olawale Bakare were arraigned by the Department of State Security (DSS) on 7-count charge of alleged treasonable felony, insulting President Muhammadu Buhari, and plotting to overthrow the federal government by calling for a revolution. They pleaded not guilty to the charges when their trial came up last Monday. At Friday's resumed sitting, the account of Femi Falana, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, argued that various courts in the country had established that the use of the word revolution was not a criminal offense, and no police permit was required to embark on a peaceful protest. Falana urged the court to grant the accused persons bail pending their trial. The prosecuting counsel, Azan Liman, senior advocate of Nigeria, opposed the bail application, arguing that under Section 162 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015 and Section 41 of the Criminal Code, the defendants have not met the requirements to obtain bail, saying they could also jump bail. The court, in its discretion, said granting the bail would enable them prepare adequately for trial. The court granted Sowore bail in the sum of 100 million naira and 2 sureties who must have landed property in Abuja. Sowore is required to deposit his international passport with the court and not leave Abuja without permission. Meanwhile, Bakare was granted 50 million naira bail with 2 sureties. The court also restricted him from leaving Osun State his residence, except to attend trial and not attend any.
God has made his order and given the conditions of the bail. So we are waiting to see to the fulfillment of the bail condition.
There is nobody who is above the law in the country. We will take appropriate steps to ensure that our clients regain their freedom as soon as possible.
The case is adjourned to the 8th of November 2019 for commencement of trial in Abuja, Olabodarewa. NTA News.
And this is where the news ends on International. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Justin Bemunyi.